Joseph and Kevin too, how important is the jab in this fight? Because I know in the past you guys have said you feel like that might be Joseph's best punch, is the jab.
Well, I think, you know, if we let Anthony Joshua get his long left jab off and be first to punch all the time, it's going to be very hard for Joe to close the distance. So, you know, the jab for us and for him is very important in this fight. We cannot afford to be standing there and allow him to control things with that long jab. Joe, we talked about his speed before. You know, we need to get that double jab going. We need a lot of head movement. We need a lot of hand movement. We need a lot of body movement. You know, movement is the key for us in this fight.
Joe, do you think you're going to have to go to the body more than Joshua's been used to? Klitschko never went to the body.
Yeah, but when you watch the previous fights, I mean, when Takim hit the body, started hitting the body, he started to slow down a bit, but he didn't hit the body enough. Now I'll plan to mix it up.
Does it anger you at all that, including the media, including fans, including actually boxers, are saying we can't wait for Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua fight to happen?
No, it doesn't. I mean, that's a fight that if the fighters or fans want to see it, then they want to see it. But it doesn't really affect me. I got one target on my mind, and that's Anthony Joshua. That's what I want to focus on.
I'm curious, what do you make of the skills that Wilder has?
I think Wilder's pretty much one of those. Of course, he's one of the best because he's a WBC champion. But he's rangy, powerful. He's actually at the top level because he's a good fighter. So.
How does he compare to the skills you have? This question for both of you.
Well, for me, if I see myself as the best in the world. He said he sees himself the best in the world, and so is Joshua. So, skill-wise, I always think that I have better skills and probably the same as them.
I think Joe's the most skillful heavyweight champion in the world. I think Joe can do more. When he's on his best game, it is very, very pretty to watch. And my challenge to him this whole camp is to be not to try to be something that he's not, but to go out there and to show Joshua, the boxing world and the sporting world what I see in the gym, because the stuff that he does in the gym no other heavyweight in the world can do. I just need him to put it all together on one night on March 31, and we'll leave that ring with all the belts. I need Joe's best performance, but I'm not asking for something that he hasn't got. I'm not saying be better than you are. Just show me on the night what you show me in the gym.
What do you think of just, they've already sold over 70,000 tickets. It's going to be the biggest fight fan attendance-wise as well. Do you think that this puts pressure on him too? Obviously at home, they're rooting for him, but he has to put on a show. Do you think that might actually be to your advantage?
I think, everyone has pressure, but it's how you deal with it. I don't feel I have pressure because, like I said, my confidence comes from training, but it's amazing, amazing to be involved in this. It's been amazing to be fighting in front of all these people. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be something special, something unique. There
is huge pressure on Joshua. There's huge public expectation. They think they're going to walk through Joseph Parker. They've got him like an 8-to-1 favourite. They think this is an easy fight, a warm-up fight for him to go and fight Deontay Wilder. I know when somebody asked the question before, do you think Joshua's people are looking past Joe? The answer is no. Joshua's a smart dude. His whole training team are smart guys. They are not looking past Joseph Parker. They know exactly what Joe can bring. They've been looking at us for the last 3 years and we've been watching them. This fight was supposed to happen a long time ago before there was ever any belts at stake. This fight was something, this fight has been inevitable. Both teams have looked at each other's styles. That they will not be underestimating Joseph Parker. The boogies might be, but I can promise you Joshua's team are not.
Does it go 12 rounds? Do you guys have a feeling it will or it won't?
Well, I'll tell you this. When you look at both guys, Joseph Parker has several one-punch clean knockouts where he's put guys out cold. Joshua, I don't know if Joshua's got a one-punch knockout. Joshua has to hit you with 3, 4, 5 punches. And admittedly, they're very, very heavy punches. But I can tell you this, in 24 professional fights, I've never seen anybody hit Joseph Parker with 2 punches in a row, let alone 3, 4, or 5. Sure, he can get hit, you can hit him with 1, but I've never seen Joshua knock anybody out with 1 punch.
Joe, does it go 12?
If it goes 12, I know that my fitness is intact. We train for 12 rounds, but like I said, anything can happen in the fight. I want to be prepared to take as the best punches that he's going to throw, and hopefully he's prepared to take mine. But I think as heavyweights or as guys who really want it so bad, I think someone will get knocked out.
Speaking of 12,
has it been a pretty cool thing, like the attention coming into this fight? Like, how are you embracing that side?
Yeah, I think in boxing you got to embrace everything. Embrace the training, embrace the pain, embrace all of this kind of stuff. So you just have to enjoy it, you know.
Have you enjoyed it?
I enjoy every part of boxing and what it brings.
speaking of 12 rounds, are you afraid that if it goes 12 rounds for both of you guys, will the business of boxing take place?
I tell you what, we get asked this question all the time. Do you think you're going to get a fair go over there? We hope so. You know, in the contract, when we sat down with Eddie Hearn, it was neutral officials right across the board, judges and referee. But you know, we had the same thing in place for the Hughie Fury fight, and we get over there and the BBBOC decided to take control of everything, and they said, this is our party, we'll say who the officials are. Now we're hoping that that doesn't happen this time. But you know, all I can say is, you know, Eddie Hearn and our promoter David Higgins both put a contract together that says neutral officials, and I think if we get neutral officials right across the board, I think we'll get a fair go.
Joe, mind answering the question? Do you think you'll get a fair handshake if it goes 12 rounds? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I was going to ask you, would that make you more anxious in the championship rounds? Like, damn, I'm in. This guy just put 70,000 people in the seat. They want Anthony Joshua Wilder. It's an even fight. I don't know, but it feels like it. Do I got to give everything, or do you trust the judges?
Well, hopefully the judges we have are neutral judges that we can trust. And I trust in my team to be able to sort of get that sorted, you know. But I mean, if I focus on myself, focus on what I have to do, I'm just going to go out there and give it the best performance. And if I do dominate for 12 rounds, then everyone can see. And you know, then if they give it the other way, you know, it'll cause a lot of attention.
When it is fight night, how much different is your temperament to what we see right now? Gentleman, soft-spoken guy. Does it change that much? Are you more cold and clinical in there? And thinking, what are you like on fight night?
Fight night's the same as this.
Actually, he smiles a lot more on fight night.
Play music.
You know, he sings and dances.
Happy.
I know for a lot of fans on our side here that are going to be watching this, it's going to be the first time they're seeing you. Who were some of the people that inspired you growing up in terms of boxing? Like, who were some of your favorite boxers to watch?
Probably my favorite fighter was Lennon Phillips. The height he had, the reach, and he used, he used what he had to the best of his ability. But then also what he did after boxing, like retiring at the top. They attempted to come back, but they didn't come back. And I just finished at the top level. That's pretty cool to see.
How did you get into boxing?
My dad's named after Jack Dempsey, and he couldn't box because he had a disability. So at a young age, loved the sport, had a passion for it, and slowly got myself and my brother into it.
Do you remember that moment, the first time you went into a gym?
Maybe about 9 years old.
Yeah? How was it? Describe that.
Was
it like love at first sight? It was stinky? That's a good gym then.
I was just learning, learning and just seeing. It was a big. It's like as a young boy looking at the gyms, like, damn, what is it? But then slowly, when you grow older and you sort of see the gym, it's just it's a place where people work hard, but it's good.
Did you immediately like boxing?
My dad held up his hand on this at the age of when I was 3 or 4. Told me to start punching his hand, and
so just hooked from very, very
and he started watching tapes, Mike Tyson, and seeing all those knockouts, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury said about 2 weeks ago that if he fought Mike Tyson, Tyson would knock him out. Have you ever went into a fight thinking like, maybe in the amateurs or in the pros, I ain't got it? Or is it just 100% confidence?
There's a few fights in the amateur when I didn't train as hard or didn't have the proper guidance, and you sort of doubt whether you're gonna, if the training you're doing was good or not. But since turning professional and having the proper guidance, there's no doubt in my mind that I can actually achieve the good things in boxing.
How do you see the fight going, Kevin?
How do I see this fight going? I think this is a real fans fight. I think that it's a great style matchup. We have always preferred guys that come forward and come on to Joe. Joe always likes fighting tall guys, far more than, you know, when we fought a 6 foot or a 6'1", a 6'2" guy. Joe would sooner fight somebody 6'6", 6'7". So for us, you know, we think that this is a pretty good style. You know, Joshua's a little bit robotic. He lunges with his punches. Not the fastest guy around. Does a few things with his hands. There's definite holes for us to expose openings. But you know, it's far easier said than done. You've got to be able to put it all together on the night. But you know, we have a very good game plan. We're both totally in tune with it. We both are very, very confident in this fight. There is no doubt in our minds that we can't go out there and shock the world in this fight. But I think it's an exciting fight. I've said two guys that are going to come together in the middle and clash. There's going to be a lot of explosion.
Question for both of y'all. I actually had a sat down with Deontay Wilder last week, and I asked him. I said, Deontay, have you ever thought that Anthony Joshua had some help, some chemical help throughout his career? Have you ever suspected, since his body has been the same at 230 and has gotten better at 255, have you ever suspected that quite possibly he used performance enhancers throughout his career?
I think he's just one of those guys, genetically probably just worked really hard in the gym. You know, he's never tested positive for anything at all, so you know, you'd be a fool to say that he was a drug cheat. There are plenty of guys at the moment who are testing positive. Of course, we've got this fight coming up with Ortiz. I just hope that he actually stays in, because I feel sorry for Deontay that he's missed out on a lot of big fights. But you know, like, hey, you know, Joshua's a big, powerful, muscular guy. Frank Bruno was a big, powerful, muscular guy, and we know what eventually happened to him.
He met Mike Tyson twice.
Well, Anthony Joshua's meeting Joseph Parker.
Yeah. Speaking of Frank Bruno, he came over here as a UK hopeful. Do you think you quite possibly you have the potential to take over the world? Because being the heavyweight champion of the world is like you sit on the same throne as God. Do you think that you have the charisma, because you're pretty calm, the charisma to take over the world? Both of y'all can chime in on that.
It's your turn, buddy. Come on, man. They didn't come here to listen to me. Come on.
Yeah, I think you know, with every fighter, as you sort of mature and age, that you will be able to develop a better charisma, and just, you know, I think it's just learning along the way.
Joe's got tons of personality, and I tell you what, you know, just the time that we've spent in the UK, he's won over a lot of fans over there already. You know, the media that we've done there, we've had Sky UK with us a couple of days this week, where they send live broadcasts back several times a day. They love Joe over there. You know, we don't feel like we're going into a lion's den where there's a lot of hate towards us. We think there's a lot of support and a lot of love. And let's remember, like, you know, we come from New Zealand. Even though I've lived here for 14 years, we have a lot of New Zealanders living in the UK, and a lot of Australians in the UK. So we're going to have a lot of fans there.
All right.
Is there a rematch clause?
There is a rematch clause, yeah.
How does that make you feel, knowing that you do it once, you got to do it again?
Oh, it's great. We'd love to do it twice.
How do you feel, Joseph, about that?
Good. I mean, they have a rematch clause. We don't have one, so I think we're confident in what we can do. So we know that we're going to go in there and give it everything. Hopefully, get the victory they want, and then fight them again. It'll be even bigger.
So for you, it's more of a more guaranteed opportunity again to face a big fighter in a big stage, as opposed to thinking, I got to do this a second time. Is that right?
Yeah, I know this is my shot. I don't care about rematch clause. This is a shot that I want. This is a shot that we got now, so let's make the most of it.
And the business side of it really stacks up for us in a rematch.
Yeah.
You know, the business is not bad for this fight either, but the rematch, it really stacks up great for us.
How was negotiating? Because obviously you hear us we don't get to interview Eddie Hearn, we don't get to interview you guys quite often. How is the business in negotiating with Eddie Hearn as it relates to this fight? Because us in America, we like, man, when is Deontay Wilder gonna get the fight?
Yeah.
When is, you know what I mean? So how was the negotiating?
Well,
and how long did it take?
Eddie was, well, it actually took a while, you know, because, from where we started the negotiations to where we finished, it was a process. And, our team did a pretty damn good job with the business side of this. This is the first time that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn have had to do a open book percentage deal with any opponent. Let's remember, most people are just, they'll throw
open what?
An open book.
Revenue share.
We've done a total revenue share for this whole thing. We've had the other opponents who have gone over there and the people who have fought him. They've been happy to be there, and you heard Joe say before, a lot of these guys are beaten before they even get in the ring because they consider hitting the jackpot just, we've got an opportunity to go to the UK, we're getting paid $1 million, or we're getting paid $1.5 million, or someone may have got paid $2 million, and they go, oh, thanks Eddie, that's really nice of you, and they'll jump through hoops and do everything else. We sat down right at the beginning and we said, this fight won't even take place. The only way this fight's ever going to happen is we do a revenue share. And that was from week one, and I think about 10 weeks later, and a lot of banter in the media, a couple of trips to the UK, and dozens of phone calls, and getting Mr. Joshua pissed off a few times. We were able to reach a deal that we're all pretty happy about.
What was some of the particulars in the
mate, we don't discuss deals.
No, I gotta ask.
You did.
Hey. All that Joe said, he wanted to make sure he had an electric blanket on his bed because he heard it was really cold over there. It was right up in clause 1.
All the pressure obviously is on Anthony. How does it feel to have not all that pressure? Just come in here, do your thing, no worries, no stress really. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It feels good, like Kevin mentioned, we're fighting in this where he lives, and there's a expectation from the media and people that he's going to take care of business and knock me out and all this kind of hoorah. But it feels good, because like my focus is training, being in great shape, and there's not really a lot of pressure. But I mean, if there is pressure, it's how, like I said, it's how you deal with it. And if you actually put pressure on yourself, I don't feel like there's any pressure on me. Even if there's a lot of people at home that rely on me or want me to do well, and but just go out there and do your best.
What sparring partners are you bringing in?
We don't talk about sparring partners.
Giants.
Yeah.
I know that.
Big guys.
Because we won't be covering your training camp, so I'm trying to get as much as we can out of you now, because we won't see you until you walk in the ring.
That's right. No one covers our sparring days anyway.
Parker, in your opinion, Joshua's last fight, do you think it was a premature stoppage?
Yeah. My personal opinion is that I thought they stopped it a little early. I thought the punches at the end didn't really show when it's slow motion. I thought Takam could carry on, but the ref's doing his job. Look out for the safety of the fighter.
And are you looking for the knockout?
If I hurt him, or if I see that he's hurt at any stage, I want to go for it. I want to go for the kill. Try to get him out there as fast as I can.
Were you surprised at how resilient he was in the Klitschko fight, where a lot of people, he was down, looked like he might not be able to recover, and he found his second?
That's just the heart of a champion. That's the reason why he's a champion. He showed true heart, and respect him for that. It shows that when times do get hard, he can get back up and go for it.
Because I know you mentioned that, or people mentioned that a lot of people think, they get intimidated by him. But for a while, I also heard the jury was on him. Is he for real? Is he not? A lot of people's opinion changed after the Klitschko fight. Did your opinion change too because of that fight, or did you always kind of feel he was
we did.
a real?
The reason why I've been chasing him for all this time is because I respect him as a fighter. I know that he's one of the best in the world, and I think the best fighters bring out the best in me. So that's the reason why we're chasing. But I've always had an opinion that he's a good fighter.
What do you guys make of all the talk online about the last performance? Did it bother you? Did it motivate you more to be even better coming out of this fight?
What do you mean by that?
Huey, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I tell you what, Huey Fury was the fight that I would never ever have put Joe in that fight. The style was the worst possible style. That's why the guy was undefeated. That's why there's no heavyweight out there putting their hand up saying, "Hey Huey, I want to fight you." Who calls Huey Fury out? No one. There was, for a minute, Dillian White was saying he was going to fight him, and then he thought, "What the friggin' hell did I say?" And then and then he was out. Now he's fighting Lucas Brown. No one. Look, let me tell you this: Huey Fury, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, will win a world title. He is a horrible, horrible style for anyone. And the reason why we took the fight, as it was our mandatory. We had to get it out of the way to move forward. So we went over there, we fought him in his backyard. It wasn't the easiest fight to put together. We had all sorts of trouble. We didn't have a good relationship with the promoter or with the Fury camp. When the fight ended, I think we earned each other's respect, and we actually had a good relationship and bond formed then. But coming into the fight, it was not a nice fight to be part of. But it was a fight that I think Joe learnt a lot from, because it was a fight that everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. For instance, when we left Vegas, or when we were due to leave Vegas, up until a day out, we didn't even have our plane tickets. It was like, it was like, and I said to Joe, "Hey, we'll be flying. They're just messing with us. They're experts at doing this." And they are. They're very, very good at getting inside the head of the people they fight. We saw what they did with Klitschko. He was a shadow of the man that he was the fight before that, because Tyson completely got inside his head. And we took a leaf from that book, and we sort of studied it, and we watched it, and I talked Joe through it on a number of occasions, that they'll do everything to make this a bad experience for us, which I think was a good experience for Joe to experience and go through.
Bad but good.
Okay, guys.
You mentioned
just one or two more. Yeah.
You mentioned that for 3 years now you've had your eye on Joshua. With that being said, have you guys had your eyes on Tyson Fury?
I didn't really have that. Did you?
On Tyson?
Yeah.
Look, we took a lot of joy in Tyson Fury beating Klitschko. And we all watched that fight because why?
Yeah.
Because it opened up the whole heavyweight division. The reason why we've got such a great red hot heavyweight division at the moment is because Tyson Fury beat Klitschko. So a lot of people have a lot to give thanks to Tyson for.
That's a great point.
And for us, we were the mandatory in the IBF. And then when he walked away from the WBO belt, we thought, okay, we can go straight in here and fight Andy Ruiz, which 29-0 guy. Not a lot of people called Andy out either. So we decided to deviate from the IBF to pick up the WBO belt. And we would never have had that opportunity if it wasn't for Tyson.
Now,
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could be in the future.
Adversity. We recently spoke to Jamel Charlo, and he says there was a moment in boxing where he fell out of love with it, and then he fell in love with it again. Did you ever have that moment in your boxing career where it's like, I think I'm gonna get a job?
I haven't had that yet. Not yet. Still, yeah. But if I do, though, I'll come.
Please come back. I'm gonna give you my number. Email, Twitter. I'm gonna give you all that. All right.
Okay, guys. Let's let Joseph enjoy the fights. We got our first fight, our welterweight fight on Showtime starting now.
Appreciate you, King. Appreciate you, King. Yeah.
Have a good one.
The Joe.
A week or two.
How much does he weigh?
250.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Got some big hands. Jeez.
Okay. I'm good. All right. Good, man. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
Joseph.